We begin KCAL9 News at 4 with breaking news from the Sylmar area. A road sign came crashing down on the southbound 5 freeway, forcing lanes to be closed while crews worked to take down the remaining pieces of that sign. Traffic was being diverted to the truck lanes during that time, and it caused quite a traffic delay, as you can see there. The sign has now been removed and all the lanes are back open, but the delays remain as traffic works itself out during rush hour on a Friday. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Juan Fernandez.
And I'm Suzanne Marquez in for Lena Nguyen. Developing news, a big health scare for former Governor Arnold Schwarzenegger. He's recovering after having emergency open heart surgery.
KCAL9's Greg Mills live outside Cedars-Sinai Medical Center, where the governor is recovering and reportedly hasn't lost his sense of humor. Greg.
He certainly did, Juan and Suzanne. He said when he awoke from surgery, "I'm back." His surgery performed here at Cedars-Sinai, and by all accounts, he is doing just fine. He's in stable condition. It was supposed to be a minimally invasive surgery, going up through an artery in his leg, replacing a pig valve, which lasted as long as it's supposed to. He got 20 years out of it, but when the heart surgeons went in to place the new pig valve inside the old one, there was some kind of problem. So they had to then do open heart surgery instead. A cardiologist we spoke with, who was not on the team treating Schwarzenegger, said replacing the old valve with a new one can be very complex.
It can be rupture of the pericardial sac or the sac that surrounds the heart. There could be misimplantation in that it doesn't deploy exactly where we want it. There could be leakage around the valve.
So as he said, a lot of problems can present themselves. That's why they had to go to open heart surgery. By the way, they had open heart surgeons standing by, which is normal in this procedure. And they just said, okay, we got to go that route. So that's what they did. And again, things turned out just fine. He's in stable condition here. Suzanne and Juan, back to you two.
And on the road to recovery, Greg, thanks. A day after Stephon Clark's family laid him to rest in Sacramento, a disturbing revelation has surfaced about his death. An independent pathologist announced his findings in the deadly police shooting. KCAL9's Amy Johnson live in the newsroom now with results from the unofficial autopsy. Amy?
Well, Juan, the family has its own private investigation underway and its own private autopsy, and the results are surprising. Stephon Clark was shot 8 times, and 6 of those were in his back. The pathologist says any of those shots could have been fatal.
A 7 gunshot wound.
A diagram shows where each of the 8 bullets struck 22-year-old Stephon Clark.
He was shot in the back 6 times. The 7th gunshot wound was slightly to the side of his body, but to the back.
Pathologist Dr. Bennett Amalu performed the second autopsy, which contradicts the police officer's account of what happened in that Sacramento backyard.
The police officers were to the side of the house, and he was behind the house.
He said Clark suffered an 8th wound to his thigh as he was falling or already on the ground.
The proposition that has been presented that he was assailing the officers, meaning he was facing the officers, is inconsistent with the prevailing forensic evidence as documented at autopsy.
2 Sacramento police officers began chasing Clark after reports of someone breaking car windows. Police say after spotting Clark in his grandmother's yard, they ordered him to put his hands up and claimed he was advancing towards them when they fired at least 20 shots.
Show me your hands, gun!
The officers said they thought Clark had a gun and feared for their safety. He was only carrying a cell phone. Clark's death has ignited days of protests around the city.
Is what do we need to do for these shootings to stop? That's what everyone wants. That's what the family wants. And we hope to make a difference in that regard.
Now, it took officers at least 5 minutes to approach Clark after the shooting, and Amalu says had they approached him sooner, he might have survived because his death was not immediate. Amalu says Clark died after about 10 minutes. Back to you in the studio.
Thanks, Amy. A home invasion in Hesperia ended with the suspect being shot by the homeowner. Deputies say the homeowner fired a shot after the suspect tried to force his way into the home on Ponderosa Avenue. The suspect has been identified as Michael Good. Deputies say the 36-year-old tried to get away, but collapsed in the front yard and was airlifted to the hospital in critical condition. Neighbors say they were surprised when they heard about the shooting.
I mean, the neighbor's the sweetest man. Every time I go by him, it's good morning or good afternoon, or, you know, he's pretty quiet until himself.
Well, he wasn't hurt. Deputies say he's cooperating with detectives.
The city of Santa Ana moving forward with a plan to force other cities to help it deal with the homeless crisis. KCAL9's Jasmine Veal explains the decision.
We're going to be down by the tree today.
Morgan Dangus with Catholic Workers sets up breakfast for the hundreds of homeless living in the middle of the Santa Ana Civic Center Plaza.
I mean, these are all my friends, and I don't like to see them suffer like this.
He is worried about what will happen to the 200 homeless people living here on Monday if an April 2nd deadline is enforced to keep anyone from camping overnight. The county already has a shortage of beds.
Enough's enough. Our city has provided compassionate resources for all the folks that are out there.
At the same time, inside City Hall, angry residents spoke out about the burden Santa Ana has taken on.
I urge you now that is the time to act. Santa Ana has carried the burden. It is time for other cities to step up. Talk is not working. Legal action is what these people will understand.
County Supervisor Andrew Doe told the council he supports them suing 33 other cities to bring them all into a lawsuit being handled by a federal judge to find permanent solutions. Right now, the lawsuit only includes a handful of cities, including Santa Ana.
Mr. Mayor and council members, I am here to stand behind you all the way. I think this is time. It is time we say enough is enough.
It was just on Tuesday when, after massive protests from residents, the Board of Supervisors scrapped its plan to move the hundreds of homeless people evicted from alongside the Santa Ana River to temporary shelters in Irvine, Huntington Beach, and Laguna Niguel. Dangus says he's hoping whatever the decision, the homeless will get the help they need.
I think they kind of need to keep standing strong with our brothers and sisters that are experiencing homelessness.
The federal judge who met with Santa Ana city leaders this morning agreed that the city should not have to handle the burden of the homeless here by themselves. So the city is researching its legal options and will discuss those at its meeting here on Tuesday. Here in Santa Ana, Jasmine Veal, KCAL9 News.
President Trump promised to build a big, beautiful wall, but a border official's description of the first major steps on the project framed it as more of a fixer-upper. The Customs and Border Protection Acting Deputy Commissioner announced the construction of new border walls in San Diego, Calexico, and the Rio Grande Valley during a briefing this morning. He said the administration will put 2018 congressional appropriations, about $1.6 billion, toward creating or replacing roughly 100 miles of wall structures along the southern U.S. border.
We plan to replace at least 47 miles of dilapidated border fencing with new border wall system in various locations along the southwest border. Also in RGV, we plan to build about 25 miles of new levee wall in Hidalgo County, as well as 8 miles of new border wall system in Starr County, Texas. Border wall system provides a comprehensive solution that combines wall, lighting, enforcement cameras, and other related technology and all-weather roads to impede and deny illegal cross-border activity.
The acting commissioner went on to say funds allocated for the project do not fully fund what's needed in the most critical locations. Officials are likely to break ground on a project in April where 20 miles of border wall will be replaced in Santa Teresa, New Mexico.
Someone could be more than $500 million richer tonight. The jackpot in tonight's Mega Millions drawing has reached an epic $521 million, and it keeps growing. KCAL9's Lisa Siegel live at Bluebird Liquor in Hawthorne, where everyone is hoping to be a winner. Lisa?
We are, and take a look. I'm cutting in line right now, but I'm going to get out. Take a look at this line. It's been like this all day long as people get ready for this mega jackpot. Now I'm here with
Isabella
and
Natalie.
And you told me, of course, your mom is here, but what would you do if your mom wins the money?
I would buy a unicorn.
Well, you know what? I think that's a very good idea. Now take a look at what other people are saying. A mega frenzy for Mega Millions. The jackpot tonight, more than $500 million and growing.
Very, very excited. Very, very, because $521. Hello, yeah.
Actually, 521 million.
Yeah. I'm so excited. I forgot what it was.
At Bluebird Liquor, where past lotto winners line the walls.
You ready to win? Absolutely.
Yeah, and you?
Ready to win.
People are lining up for their chance to win.
On the Mega?
Across the Southland, the excitement is growing. At the 7-Eleven in Chino Hills, a Riverside County couple won part of a $1.6 million Powerball ticket. People are hoping for the same luck with the Mega Millions.
If I can retire, why not?
And in Menifee, the hot ticket is Marietta Liquor, where 3 lotto jackpots have been won before. Players here hope it's their lucky place, too.
Maybe I get lucky. You never know.
Now, this is the 4th largest jackpot in Mega Millions history, and players know exactly what they'll do with the money.
Everything that I want to do, share it with other people.
That'll do a lot. A lot with preschool and him right here.
I picked these numbers. But this lady says, hold on. She's pretty sure she's holding a lucky ticket. She wouldn't give us her name. Said we'd see it in the paper.
Look me up if I win.
Oh, you'll share?
I will. Shh, not with everybody.
Just me.
You. Okay.
And I am here with one, and you do have a tradition here. We've shown you this before. This is the ticket I bought, of course, for everybody at the station. So what do you do?
Pray first.
Okay.
Rubber the ticket, and then they say good luck.
And you say good luck. And now we have the winning ticket, guys. So this could be $500 million. Back to you.
You got to rub that Bluebird. All right, Lisa. Thank you. Still to come here at 4, did she help him plot the shooting? A verdict in the case of the Pulse nightclub shooter's wife.
So many teachers called out sick in the state of Kentucky today. It forced school closures. We'll explain what made them call out sick.
And find out what was different about this morning's SpaceX rocket launch.
Temperatures for the last few days have been all above average, but that is about to change. I'm tracking a big temperature drop for you in some places coming up.
Already following CBS LA on Facebook? Follow these steps to make sure you continue to see our stories on your news feed. First, click on the triangle pointer in the top right corner of your Facebook page. Select News Feed Preferences. Then click Prioritize Who to See First and select CBS LA.